What up, Loco KoKo Squad? It's your girl LaRoca Blu.
And it's your girl KoKo.
And welcome back to
LaRoca Blu TV.
So, welcome back. Thank you for joining us. We know you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're right here with us, and we want to appreciate you for that.
Thank you.
If this is your first time seeing our faces, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
Smash that like.
Share these videos if you care. With that being said, as always, make sure you're hitting us up on Instagram. Our information is always down in the description below. And yeah, if you haven't already, check out that online store at LaRocaBluApparel.rageon.com.
Oh yeah.
We're trying to get drippy. With that being said, that brings us to why we're here today. I know you haven't seen either of us for a minute, but we're back like we never left.
Back like back.
So today what we're going to do is we're going to review the Ava DuVernay series, When They See Us.
Is my mom here?
It's just us. You and us. Who you were in the park with?
I don't know names. I just got lost.
Where did you see the lady?
One lady.
The female jogger was severely beaten and raped. Every black male who was in the park last night is a suspect. I need all of them.
What's going on with my son?
Your son was involved in rape in Central Park.
No,
Wait a minute. Wait a second.
They saw you rape the lady.
I didn't see a lady or hit anyone. I didn't see any lady.
Kevin.
I didn't see any lady.
I want to see my son right now. Right now.
Whatever they said I did, I didn't. I know.
Now this is based on a true story of the Central Park 5. We both watched all 4 parts. At the end of the day, let us know your feelings down about it down in the comments below. And yeah, so episode 1, basically how she framed it is, if you don't already know, we'll give you a little bit of backstory. When They See Us is basically a dramatic rendition of the story of the Central Park 5, who were falsely convicted of rape by nefarious reasons, who later were exonerated. And so, first off, let's start with Ava DuVernay.
Great job. Great job. She is phenomenal. The work is great.
You directed the shit out of that
Man.
movie. So
I felt like I was there.
and we gotta give props to the little boys who played the young men. What was their names? Antron, Kevin, Raymond, Corey, and Yusuf.
Yes.
Those young men did phenomenal jobs. But big shout out to Jerome, I think that's his name. He played the young Corey Ross all the way to the
org. Oh.
I understand it's a Netflix thing, so I don't know if you get Oscar consideration for it, but you definitely deserve an Oscar because you played the hell out of that role.
You did a great job, brother, and I know that it definitely I'm sure it affected you personally because as well as you played that role, you couldn't have been just acting. You've had some deep-seated feelings there.
So episode 1 kind of gives you their backstory. It humanizes them. I happen to be 11 years old when this happened in New York, so I kind of remember it being on the news every day, but I was a young kid, like 3 years younger than the youngest victim. So, but I do remember in 2002 when they did get exonerated, I was definitely
I remember that.
More conscious of that. But episode 1, it broke your heart because it kind of went from day to night so quick.
Yeah, episode 1 for me was just that. It was an emotional roller coaster because from the moment that the scene cracked with the music, special ed, and I was all like, yes, this is great. But at the same time, I was like, that's my jam, this is great. I was getting the feel of it, but it was very melancholic because for the simple fact, I knew that it was about to take a major turn and nothing great about it.
And before we go any further, shout out to whoever did the soundtrack.
Oh, it was...
The soundtrack to this movie was A1.
Do they even do soundtrack CDs anymore? Like, well, not CDs,
I'm sure
or whatever.
I'm sure you can get the soundtrack.
Like, remember, I broke my neck to go out and get Minister Society soundtrack and all that. Like,
I don't know if like studios are releasing it.
Right.
Like, I don't know if Netflix
like as
will
a
release
soundtrack. You know
it.
what I'm saying?
But I'm sure you can get it somewhere. But either which way, the soundtrack
It was great.
dope.
It was dope.
But we see each individual in their lives. Antron's kicking it with his father. He seems cool and confident. At this point in the story, his father seems like a strong black man.
Yep.
You get black love. He's in a 2-parent household.
Yep.
Antron want to play baseball.
Yep.
You see Raymond, he about to go to a party with his friends. They talking about they got some time, so they're going to kick it in the park
until the party kick off.
You see...
Corey was with his little girlfriend begging and eating food and, you know, all of that stuff.
They start off in the alley. She trying to get him to stop cutting school. They end up going on a little date.
Yeah.
And Yusuf, that's when Yusuf comes in. We didn't really see backstory on Yusuf outside of the fact that Yusuf banged on the window to have Corey come to
tell Corey to come out.
And then you have little Kevin who just saw a whole bunch of people going to the park and just wanted to be a part.
Just wanted to be a part of it because Kevin was the... You know, he had a tight ship.
But at the end of the day, you can see their dynamic. You know, that he's walking, talking about school with his sister. She goes to work. When he runs home to put his trumpet away, you can see that clearly his mom is sick.
Ill.
So he don't really have that much parental supervision. But even with that, he turned out to be a good little kid. You know what I'm saying? So this one night, he just wanted to be a part.
He just wanted to be, yeah.
Now, you see them go into the park. And again, this is hopefully by the time we've done this video, y'all have seen it. If you haven't seen it, I strongly suggest you watch it. I'm not telling you to watch it for entertainment value. Though it's entertaining, it's a hard watch. It's a hard watch.
Yeah.
But you have to see it because at the end of the day, it's so educational. I recommend
it definitely is.
You watch it with your kids. There's so many things that you can point out about being at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yep.
Kicking it with your homies.
Yep. Honestly, I was not going to watch it. But my son, my 16-year-old son, he was up watching it one night on his laptop and he said, Mom, he said, you got to watch this. He said, I know it's going to, you know, affect you. He said, but you got to watch this. And from the conversation that we had prior to watching it, I said, I'm going to watch it.
And then I kind of hijacked her and made her watch it.
Yeah, I had to find the time. She made, I
made the time.
I'm a busy folk because she stole my time and made me watch it.
You know, at the end of the day, we could have did a video and she could have watched the movie. I chose the movie. Right. But either which way, you see them in the park and you see them being teenage boys.
They're being young men.
They're
young
kicking it and joking with each other. You can see parts of the crowd are getting rowdy.
A little bit of roughhousing.
But at the end of the day, it's made clear that none of these boys were part of that. They've seen it go down, but they weren't part of they wasn't feeling it. They wasn't in it. They wasn't feeling it, and it's like it seems like right when they decided, like, yo, this is a little bit too much.
They was getting ready to leave.
We leaving. The police swarm the park.
Yep.
So you see the first instance of police brutality when they catch Kevin. The cop beat him in the head with the helmet. And he's unconscious, and the next thing you know, he wakes up.
He wakes up in jail.
In jail. So right then and there, you already know the shits is about to start.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the whole thing is like a female jogger got raped in the park the same night. All these dudes were in the park. Now,
female jogger, a couple of bikers got jumped on.
Now, this is the introduction to the DA of the sex crimes unit at the time, Linda Lederer. And at the end of the day, like, you don't get a tone from her from the beginning.
You don't.
She seems like, okay, she's a really thorough investigator because she's picking up on things in the crime scene.
Yeah, stepping on this, move out the way. She was drugged this way. Yeah.
But if you listen closely, and again, I said there's going to be spoilers, You can hear on the crime scene, she starts off with, he dragged her back here. It was a singular.
She didn't say they.
She didn't say they. It was
She
a
said
singular
he.
thing. She said he.
Yep.
Now, we go into the police station, and she is trying to figure out what happens and see all these boys arrested.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is where
Things go bad.
go left for her, because at the end of the day, even if one of those boys that were in the group did that to the jogger,
Yeah.
she should have investigated her way to that point.
She didn't investigate her way to that. She
didn't.
jumped right in.
She jumped right in. And kudos and not kudos to the other DA that was in the room, because when they were speaking of the case on how they're going to move forward, she
questioned her.
She questioned her. She was like, it doesn't make sense. Like, the stuff you saying is
Doesn't make sense.
It's so circumstantial and so reaching at straws. This doesn't make sense.
I have to go to the courts with something solid.
And you know, their boss was like, you two figure it out. So kudos for her for that phone call, but not kudos to her, because when Linda Lederer got in the room with the police and started making her case on why they needed to be investigated, the only thing you said to her was good luck. You literally wished her good luck on a fuck shit.
She walked away.
And walked off?
And walked away. She didn't go and do secret investigating of her own to counteract or contradict whatever Linda was saying. None of that.
And you could tell, and knowing more backstory on the case, Linda Lederer, her department were taking so many L's.
They have been losing. They have been losing for a long time, because they were losing against the drugs. They was losing against the crime. Violent crimes. They were losing.
Not even that. For her department, specifically, which was sex crimes.
Yeah, sex crimes. That's
she's
right.
naming off
all
these
ones
statistics.
Yep.
3,000 and something people got raped
Unsolved
and this. But this is all happening under her watch.
Yep.
So she taking so many L's.
She can't take another one.
She decided today that there
This
was
the
no
last
way
loss.
that she was going to take an L.
Yep.
And from that, you start seeing her piece together a story out of thin air.
Like a book writer, like an author.
And at the end of the day, she sicks the police after these boys. After questioning one of them.
Yep.
After questioning one of them.
Yep.
She sicks the police on these young men with no parents.
No parent,
in
no
the room.
guardian, none of that.
And if you have seen the movie, a lot of people I've seen, some feedback like, oh, they folded so quickly. Obviously, you can't put the amount of hours that they were interrogated for.
They were children.
In a movie. Even that point too.
And they were scared.
They were children. They were scared. And you have to think about it. They were being interrogated anywhere between 42 and 72 hours.
Yes.
No food.
They was there 18 hours before it got deep.
No food. No bathroom break.
Nope.
A lot of them thought they was just gonna go home, because usually when
That's
people
what they were
roughhousing in the
telling
park, but even before they started talking to the main police, because
they thought their parents they was just waiting on their parents to come and get them,
and they was gonna have a
they
family court
sitting there
date.
thinking about getting whooping by their mom and daddy
You know
when
what
they
I'm
get
saying?
home.
So,
they like, dang, we about to get beat up.
You already been in there that long without any kind of food, from the night to the
nourishment
morning.
level is low. I know I can't think straight after a certain amount of hours.
And this is where it starts to go bad, because you can see that these are scared little kids, and they're trying their best to tell the truth.
Yep.
They made it seem in the media, and that's another thing, the power of the media.
Media sucks.
Everybody's holding people accountable, but you got to think about 1989 in that area. This is when tabloid media
started blowing up.
Was in its infancy.
Yeah.
So you think about it like this. The tabloids prosecuted them before they even went to trial.
Before they even went to
trial.
Before they were even proven. Before she even came together with her entire story.
She was building a story, but she was the one leaking the information to the press, and the press was just eating it up, and they convicted these young men before they even went to trial. So we have to start there. So we saying that the whole system is messed up. That system includes the media.
The media as
because
well.
At the end of the day, to this day, they still criminalize suspects before
still to this day
the trial happens. Now, if there's like a clear cut, he did that shit.
That's one thing.
That's one thing. But then, okay, Botham John.
Okay.
They tried to make him look like a drug addict, like he deserved to get shot in his own home.
Yeah, they did.
At the end of the day, and this was a culture, because we're gonna do another video on another one that she don't know. His name was Larry Adams. The police literally tried to kill him. Execute him because he no longer wanted to be blackmailed into selling drugs for the police. But that's another story.
That's
so you see that around that time in the 80s, you know, crack was booming. New York was racially divided.
Yeah.
I know. I lived in New York. Bensonhurst. If you were black, Bensonhurst was a neighborhood you couldn't go in. How some people be like, watch out of that neighborhood when the sun go down. If you was black, there were some Italian neighborhoods in New York you couldn't go into when the sun was fucking up.
Yeah.
And so you have to think about this is happening when they have the vigilante killer, the white guy who shoots the black guys on the train. The white guys who were beating up and chased the black guy into the street. He got hit by oncoming traffic.
Yeah.
You have all of these racial stories dividing the city, and for the most part, all these crimes were happening in black and brown communities, so it wasn't a big deal.
Right.
But the jogger case, this is a stockbroker from the Upper East Side or the Upper West Side of New York.
White Anglo-Saxon.
And it's in the white community. So now it's a thing, so it's all over the news. But obviously...
Because isn't Central Park in one of the upper neighborhoods?
Central Park
She's gonna take me to New York and I'm gonna learn.
Central Park goes all the way from downtown Manhattan all the way to Harlem. Central Park is bigger than 700 football fields. It's like a little city in the middle of Manhattan.
It's its own
so
thing.
it's very feasible that something can be happening on one side of the park and you can be on the whole other side of the park and don't know nothing about what's going on, what happened on the other side of the park, which happened here. Boys were wilding out. No, they were wilding out. They being boys.
The wilding out.
But they turned it into wilding.
Wilding out.
Not knowing that wilding can be good and wilding can be bad. Because if your friend is busting a move on the dance floor, you like, yo,
oh my God, she wilding out on the floor.
She wilding out on the floor, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So they took wilding out and turned it into wilding.
Wilding.
But just because these young men were wilding on one side of the park, this woman got raped on a whole other side of the park. And you see Linda Fairstein
trying to piece it together. Even at one point, she was stumped like, how did they do that? How did it do this from here?
You can see even when she's talking to the police about it. Here's where she made her first mistake. You are the DA of the sexual crime. You're a lawyer who works with the police. You went from being a lawyer to being a detective. On your own.
You out your lane.
And while the police are trying to make it make sense for you, they even telling you like,
how?
This doesn't add up. Even if everything happened, would they even have time
to get over to where we caught
to get over to where we found this lady at and rape her? It doesn't make sense.
Because they entered the park at this time, all the way on this end. This happened, you say about this time. And didn't she change the time of the incident?
They suggested it. They was like, maybe we can move up the time.
They changed the time of the incident.
And that's what you see what happens. And these boys don't know that this is happening in the background. And they put it out in the media like all these kids knew each other.
They did not even know
each other. They didn't even know outside of two.
Of the boys, Yusef and Corey, was the only ones that knew each other.
Knew each other. But they put it like these kids knew each other. So when they investigated them, you see boys who don't know their rights, and they like, well, Raymond said you do this, and he like, who's Raymond? And they like, well, Kevin said you did this, and they like, who's Kevin? And they're like, come on, don't act like you don't know him. And it's not like all of them didn't have parents there. Kevin's mother started out there. She got sick and had to leave. Or his sister wasn't off of work yet. And like even his sister tried.
She tried, and they scared the hell out of her.
She came and read what they was trying to get him to sign. No. And she was like, no. But at the end of the day, she see her brother going through it, and she's his only real mother the tears she broke and signed it.
Yep.
Raymond's father, he had a job where he couldn't miss work.
Miss work or
It was
everything would go down.
You know, I can stay and I look.
And
People
left the mama.
are saying what they will do when they in this situation. Because I even said in that situation, I'm like, if the police have my kid at the station and I can't go to work or I'm gonna get fired, I'm getting fired today.
Yeah.
There's no way. But he left his son with his mother,
That
who he
didn't speak
knew
a stitch of English.
didn't speak any English.
And probably don't even know the U.S. law,
Criminal justice system.
let alone New York's criminal justice system.
Then you got the fact that Antron made it out the park. Yusef
Yep.
made it out the park.
Yep.
Corey made it
Out the park. Yep.
They went in the street and rounded them up.
A whole nother day, the whole next day.
After she said every black person that was in the park was a suspect,
Yep.
which is a fucked up thing to say. You have there's nothing that tells you that the person who raped this woman is black.
Yep.
Nothing. But because you have a room full of black kids, now the suspect, every black person that was in the park is a suspect.
Yep.
What?
Yep.
So they get rounded up the next day. Antron get rounded up with his father and his mother.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, they finally figure out what he at the police station for.
Yep.
And they freaking out.
Freaking all the way out.
And Antron is the only one who wasn't going to fold.
Yep.
He was like, hell no. He was like, they don't know
Absolutely
me.
not.
He was like, anybody who
I don't
know
know
me.
any of these people.
He was like, I know they not my friends because my friends call me Tron.
Yep.
Nobody calls me
Antron.
They call me Tron. So I
Sure
know these
did.
people is not my friends. So at the end of the day, the parents, the mother's hearing it, but the father's not hearing it. They flipping out. But then you see how they use the system against the father.
Oh my God.
Because he in the hallway trying to be like, look, my
Look,
son.
y'all can't do this to my son. My son's a good boy. He don't do this.
He not even thinking about girls right now.
He ain't even thinking about that. Where are we going with this?
And they use the fact that he got locked up in the past.
Previously.
And they're like, yo, do your job know that you've been arrested?
Yep.
And they use
put
it
the fear of him.
in him. My thing is this, it broke my heart
Oh.
when he went back in that room.
And told that boy to tell these people what they want to hear.
And he looking at his son still
And
trying
the
not to
son's
fold.
still fighting it like, what?
Like, Dad, I didn't do
No,
it.
I didn't do it. Why would I tell him that I did something that I didn't do? He said, son, tell him. Because they done scared him and got him thinking under the impression, oh, we gonna ruin your life if you don't have your son do what you do. Well, you know what?
You got to ruin my life.
You gonna have to ruin my life. Jobs come, jobs go. I might have a hard time. It is what it is, but you can't have my boy.
We skipping ahead because we seen later episodes. The mom was able to hold it down and keep the place on her own.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, you're gonna have to ruin my life.
You gonna have to ruin it.
There's no way.
Because you can't have my boy.
It's not even you can't have my boy.
You can't
I can
do
see
this.
If you was telling me to get my boy to admit to shoplifting, admit to being in a fight.
You trying to
got
get him to admit to raping a woman, a white
a
woman.
whole white woman. You got me trying to
A
get
white woman.
So that right there, the father became trash after that for me.
Yeah, I was done.
I was done with the father.
He one of my favorite.
Then you see them pick up Yusef and Corey.
Oh my God.
They pick up Yusef and Corey. They not even looking for Corey.
They wasn't even looking for Corey. They wasn't even looking for Corey when Corey went with them. Okay? Corey went with his friend to make sure his friend was straight because he knew his friend had got into no issue. That boy sitting there looking clean cut, cleaner than sharper than the thumbtack, cleaner than the Board of Health with his little school uniform on. He chit-chatting with his friend Corey and they come and pluck him up out the thing.
And Corey like, yo, I gotta go with you because your mom's just gonna kill me if I don't.
What got him?
What this
Yusef had that ID.
Not even that, because they was looking for 14 and 15-year-olds anyway.
But it made it even better.
It made it worse that his ID
said he was 16.
Said he was 16, because you have to think about at this time too, this is when they started implementing the first steps of being able to charge kids as adults. Because back in the day, real hardcore criminals would talk little kids into doing the most fucked up shit because they knew the little kids would just go to juvie and then get out.
Yep.
So you had little kids out here robbing, doing murders and stuff like that. But they would go to juvie and get out, and when they get out, their juvie record is sealed.
Yep.
So the hardcore adults would talk these kids into doing things, and so the government said, okay, well, if that's what y'all gonna do, we're gonna start charging kids as adults, and with the starting out point is 16.
Right.
So Yusef's thing saying 16, they figured they got one that they could charge as an adult. Easy. That's what they thought. So with episode 1, you see all of this bullshit going down.
Just too much.
Too much bullshit.
I was so stressed out.
At the end of the day, it all culminates. They finally all, Yusef's mom show up and like,
what are you doing?
what you doing with my son? And they still wasn't gonna let her see her son.
Yep.
Until she threatened to go to the New York Times.
Doing the New York Times and dropping facts. He is a minor. Well, ma'am, his ID said it's 16. My son is 15. You got a birth certificate?
Who the hell brings a birth certificate is just carrying their kid's birth certificate? But even then, once she said she's gonna tell the New York Times, the Linda chick, and I'm being respectful because I want to say B so bad. The Linda Fairstein lady had no choice but to let her in the room. Even the cops was like, we just opening doors now?
Yep.
They did.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That's how shocked they was. Like,
Yep.
who the hell's just walking in here? We just opening doors?
Yep.
So she snatched her son before he could make a statement.
As they had the pen in his hand to make him sign a false statement.
And at the end of the day, like, she's so distraught what her son been through, he didn't even give her a chance to let her know that Corey came with him to make sure he was safe. They leave this precinct and leave Corey there.
Yep. She didn't even know Corey was there. And the thing is, if she had known Corey was there, I think she would have handled that too.
I think she'd have snatched him up.
She'd have snatched him like, you too.
Let's go.
Come on, let's go. You too.
But she didn't even
because
know.
he was only there to make sure his boy was
good.
He was like, I just came to check to look after my boy. He was like, he told him, if I let y'all take my boy and my mama find out I didn't go to make sure he was straight, I'm going to be in trouble.
No, his mama.
That's what he said. And he said,
no, Yusef's mom.
Yusef's mom, right? He was like, his mom going to kill me.
You know
so
what I'm
I got to make sure he's straight.
You know what I'm saying? And so he there sleeping the whole
time. He was
time.
sitting in the chill spot.
He in the waiting room.
He in the waiting room where people like us will go like, well,
he's so unbothered. He knocked out.
He knocked out. He like,
After they take Yusef,
they mad.
They mad. Plus, him not signing a statement, their case is still falling the fuck apart.
And Corey's 16.
And she was like, all we need is one person to make it stick. He in the waiting room, they snatch him up and beat his ass and give him the story to tell. So they go rearrest Yusef.
Yep.
Put Corey in the pen with the adults, rearrest Yusef, and put him in the cell with the kids. And this is where you find out these niggas don't even know each other.
And this is how solid these kids was. When they found out the names of each other, they was like, damn, man, I just lied on you. And then the other one, the next one, I just lied on you too. Your name such and such, you Antron, yeah. I just lied on you.
So at the end of the day, that's the end of episode 1. So that's how it ends. So you see how they're humanized. That these are little ass kids. They're not even thinking about girls. Their biggest thought was, I'm going to kick it with the boys.
We're going to do what teenagers do. We're going to do what 14 and 16-year-old boys do on a nice day. I would like to say maybe it was kind of spring or summer.
It was spring break. That's why they were able to be out so
off,
late.
They trying to
spring
kick
break.
it.
They don't got to go to school. You see them coming from school. It's like the last day of school, spring break about to start. Parties starting, people like, yo, we gonna go kick it at the park. And it was just this one night at the park.
That just went
left. It went left. And they couldn't have known that it was gonna go left. But you know, that's why I say you watch this with your kids, because that's like sometimes for Kevin, sometimes you can't go with the crowd. You didn't know nobody in that whole party of people who went to the park. But you seen a whole bunch of kids go to the park, you wanted to be a part. And look where it got you.
What's crazy is that I was 10 when that happened. It was, 89? Mm-hmm. I was 10 years old when that happened, and I vaguely remember, like Raka said, I vaguely remember it, being a big thing in the news and all that. But that's when my mom started having those conversations with me.
And then
And I was lucky to honestly to have a godfather that was a police officer.
But the thing about it is that you have somebody who could give you your rights. You could tell that these kids didn't know their rights.
They didn't know.
And this wasn't the time when
seemed like they didn't know either.
Because this wasn't the time when you would having those conversations with your kids. You just sent your kids out and told them to go play.
Yeah.
And the parents didn't know their rights outside of Yusuf's mom. The father come back. The son like, yo, I made a deal. Nigga made a deal for what? He was turns out he was 14 too.
Say, mother sucker, what deal?
What deal?
What deal?
We ain't making no deals at 14.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, he made a deal, you know what I'm saying? Now the little dude getting handcuffed. And you see how they did, he like, yo, I've been to work for 18 hours. I'm getting here. He still ain't ate no food.
None.
None of that.
None.
So you can tell the duress that they were in, and the police is beating them and scratching them.
And on top of the fact they telling them, tell me this and we'll let you go home. Tell me this and we'll let you go home.
And when you young and you in trouble, you know your home is your safe haven. So the first place you want to go
All
is
you
home.
want to do is go home at this point.
Go, look what Antron did. Ran home, kind of checked in with his mom, and went to bed. His father didn't even know he was out until 10 o'clock at night. But that's how the night happened to go. But that was pretty much episode 1. And it starts, your emotions are on high from there.
At that point, it's a wrap. With the emotions. I was done after 1. I'm the type where I'm like, throw the whole TV away. Because at this point, cancel my subscription. Like, I was done. I honestly told Rocka, she already watched it. And I told her, I said, you should be recording my reactions. Because during the whole movie, I just couldn't. I had to pause. It took forever for me to watch that movie. It took forever.
7 hours to watch.
Because I had to pause.
Because it's a hard watch.
It's
and
a hard watch. And I got a 16-year-old son.
And this is one thing that I will say before we move on to episode 2. Because it is a hard watch. So I understand people having to pause and stop.
Oh.
What I don't understand is the people who I'm not going to watch it because this is trauma porn.
Yeah.
For the simple fact that this is, no, people are not telling you these stories just to play on your emotions and leave you there.
No.
If you watch these things and you see these stories, the emotion you feel, hopefully that'll motivate
Give you the
get
energy
to get up
Yep.
and do something and check
Yep.
in your community.
Yep.
You know that this is how they treat us. Be the positive change in your community. Don't
Yeah.
watch it and just be mad.
Yeah.
Because then that's just trauma porn. Like, you just made this movie to make me be mad and there ain't nothing we can do about it.
It's an enlightenment.
You watch this movie, you get mad, and everybody that I know seen it, the first thing they said, shit like this still go on today.
It still goes on today.
So if it's still going on to this day, it's making you mad. What are we as a people going to do about it? We mad. What are we going to get together and do to ensure that our young ones are never susceptible to this again? Obviously, having that conversation, look, no matter what, the police are not your friends.
Yeah.
If your mom ain't there and you don't have a lawyer, don't say nothing.
Nope.
They ask you questions, call my father.
Call my father.
Call my mother.
Call my mom.
Call my lawyer.
the attorney. Call my grandma. Call the next.
Make sure my grandma speaks English.
Everybody, and make sure my grandma speaks English. Jesus, you left Esmeralda there.
And at the end of the day, she
felt lost. She felt lost. She was like,
we finally have black people to tell black stories, because it's not like these stories, not the Central Park 5 story, but it's not like these stories haven't been told, but they've been told from the perspective of other races.
Right.
Like how we
Or
should
other
or
people.
could be feeling.
Mm-hmm.
We actually have us telling our stories, and if it infuriates you to see that this happens, good. Do something about it to make sure that it doesn't happen again. But that being said, we're going to check into episode 2, which focuses in on the trial.